General Hospital found the government of Samoa banned the measles vaccine after 2018. When I arrived in July of the next year, after the ban had been in place for a year,
Mr.
and
Chairman,
measles.
understanding that you wanted to hold this to a minute, and that I don't get to present all the facts and documentation I've got, how about if we just decide to make entries for the record on exactly what the record shows about Mr. Kennedy's participation? And I think he's answered the yes or no question. He takes no
Senator
responsibility.
Warren, we will do that. And Mr. Kennedy and to all the senators, every senator knows that following this hearing, they will be able to ask you questions off the record and you will be able to put answers back onto the record. So please give that answer. I apologize that we're shutting you off for giving you the response right now. Senator Smith, and we are way over time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Mr. Kennedy, you have said that you want to give infectious diseases a break. You spoke about this with Senator Campbell. You 100 million birds called. The disease has spread to dairy cows, and there are now 67 confirmed human cases and 1 death. So, Mr. Kennedy, do you intend to give research on bird flu a break?
I intend to devote the appropriate resources to preventing them from part of my job.
What do you think is costing the
Okay, I asked this as someone who represents the state that has not expanded Medicaid. The federal government, because of this waiver, spent $70 million on Georgia's Medicaid waiver. 82% of that went to administrative costs. The point that I'm making is that the folks that they're insisting need to work, 90% of those folks are working. They are caregivers or they have a disability. Let me give you one example. A woman I think of all the time, her name is Heather. She's a traveling nurse from Dalton, Georgia, who falls into the Medicaid coverage gap.
any committee in this Congress puts termed. I would like to remind my colleagues that the deadline for submitting any questions for the record is 5 p.m. today. 5 p.m. possibly can. With that, I'm going to leave you in this room and run over to vote. This hearing will be adjourned. I still encourage the audience to be polite and respectful no matter what side of the issues you may be on. And Mr. Kennedy, I look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're adjourned.
Floor where a voting is just about to end right there, which is why they had to rush through the question and answer period. This was RFK's confirmation hearing before the Senate Finance Committee. Now, he will appear tomorrow before the Health, Education, Labor, and Pension Committee, although they are not in charge of voting for RF Kennedy Jr.'s confirmation. So we did want to share that with you as we do continue to follow live events. In the meantime, we also have more news to get to, and that pertains to some breaking news from the White House to freeze federal loans, grants, and other financial assistance. That is according to a White House official. I did want to share just a little bit more information about this breaking news. This is a look at the memorandum that issued the freeze of these federal fundings. President Trump's budget office just moments ago rescinding this order to freeze spending on federal grants. This comes less than 2 days after this freeze sparked widespread confusion and legal challenges across the country. The Monday evening order from the White House Office of Management and Budget, people were confused. And loans while his administration took a look and reviewed all of these initiatives. Yesterday, the White House also began offering buyouts with salary through September 30th, jobs by February 6th. This is part of President Trump's overall funding for loans, grants, and other financial assistance. Meanwhile, late Monday night, President Trump fired the Equal Employment Opportunity comprised of 5 commissioners and enforces federal laws that prohibit discrimination in the workplace. We are continuing to look for that.
Five is My fellow Puerto Ricans and Latinos need to identify the main issues that were ignored due to the fact that the corrupt left were trying to promote some type of justice without acknowledging the wrongs that our little island is going through. They decided to attack an individual during the humor, his session of comedy, identifying the problem Puerto Rico actually has. I grew up with the incentive that comedy is based on truth, and when you laugh, it reveals how true it is. When the joke about how Puerto Rico is the largest dump or whatever in the middle of the ocean, people need to actually acknowledge Puerto Rico's garbage crisis. Due to overfilled landfills, non-compliance with the EPA, limited recycling, lack of proper waste management, economic and political challenges, and also the hurricane debris. And when I talk about economic and political challenges, I want you all to know that Puerto Rico, when you escape the beauty of San Juan and go into the rest of the island, there's more of a cartel-like behaviorism amongst the gangs and the people in the streets. And some people actually do live in fear. The hospitals are not the same. There's no resources or help that goes to the rest of the island. Why? Because the government within Puerto Rico is just as corrupt as the far left. And they continue to disregard that notion by refusing the choices of Puerto Ricans, Greenland before that. Identify these issues and realize change is required and will take place eventually. We'll also regain the benefits of becoming a state, paying taxes, putting money to where it belongs, getting new hospitals, a stronger police force, a better education system that Puerto Rico currently doesn't have because it is